Bro, I saw this title. There's no way Asmongold listened to this and thought this was a good interview, right? There's no possible way. Wait, how long was this interview? How was his reaction? 43 minutes long.
Trump plans on deporting people.
Is it just the entire interview?
People that have illegal parents. Uh-oh, here we go.
4 million families in America who have mixed immigration status. So I'm talking about parents who might be here illegally, but the kids are here legally. Your borders are.
You're talking about separation.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are two aspects to this. Your borders are. Tom Homan said they can be deported together.
Correct.
Is that the plan?
Well, that way you keep the well.
That way you keep the family together. He just don't give a fuck anymore, man.
I feel like if Kamala was sitting here answering a question about like trans stuff, Asmongold would just be, it would be like a 45-minute rant about how out of touch and enraged he is, or he's like enraged about how out of touch like the Democrats are on trans issues. But like Trump can say shit like, yeah, I'm probably just going to deport all the people that I don't like. And it's like, oh my God. Oh.
The only way you don't break up the family is you keep them together, and you have to send them all back.
Even kids who are here legally?
Well, what you going to do if they want to stay with the father? Look, we have to have rules and regulations. You can always find something out like, you know, this doesn't work, that doesn't work. I'll tell you what's going to be horrible. When we take a...
Like we're suggesting about the deportation of U.S. citizens here. That doesn't even make sense. Like what I just said doesn't, you can't deport a citizen. They would literally be stateless people. It doesn't even make sense.
Wonderful young woman who's with a criminal, and they show the woman, and she could stay by the law, but they show the woman being taken out, or they want her out, and your cameras are focused on her as she's crying, as she's being taken out of our country, and then the public turns against us. But we have to do our job, and you have to have a series.
Man, he's writing a fan fiction. What's he saying? Well, basically, here's what they're going to do. Like, I can see if there's any more of these posts here, too, because there's been a lot going on. I never really watched the rest of this. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, there's this.
They're subsidizing...
Fuck, don't let the same people that got Muda come after me, okay?
Canada to the tune of over $100 billion a year. We're subsidizing Mexico for almost $300 billion.
I'm sorry, am I losing did he just pause the interview he was watching to go on Twitter to find clips that were further on in the interview that we're watching? Or was he watching another Twitter clip?
Dollars? We shouldn't be subsidizing. Why are we subsidizing these countries? If we're going to subsidize them, let them become a state. We're subsidizing Mexico, and we're subsidizing Canada, and we're subsidizing many countries all over the world.
Like, okay, then let's make Puerto Rico and DC states. What is this thought process? Like, it's theater, it's theater, it's theater. Hold on. It's theater. It's all a meme. This is 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 all a meme. Okay. Like, we're subsidizing Mexico. All the factories are being built down there. But let's deport all the citizens back there, even though they're the best workers, I guess, because everybody wants to go build. But then also, if they're going to do this, let's just make them a state. Like, what are we even saying? It's the most hodgepodge combination of contradictory policy positions that a person could ever imagine.
And all I want to do is I want to have a level, fair.
Also, a level playing field. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you are upset about the markets between the US, Mexico, and Canada, then the blame for that should 100% fall squarely on Donald Trump. This was literally one of the only crowning achievements of his administration, and it was the renegotiation of NAFTA into the US, Mexico, Canada trade agreement. How the fuck can he be so critical of this and not a single one of these what's this lady's name? These dog shit subhuman reporters who shouldn't even be in front of a fucking microphone or camera. How can not a single person point that out? One person, just one person. President Trump. It's really weird that you shit on these markets so much when this was like the crowning achievement that you had for foreign trade, wasn't it? Wasn't it you who renegotiated NAFTA into the US, Mexico, Canada free trade? Why is this such a horrible deal? Why did you, like every time he says, oh, this is bad. Okay, why did you make it that way? Why did you make it so bad? Why did you make it so horrible? Why are you allowing Mexico to rape us in manufacturing? Why, President Trump? Why? Like, why? How has he not had to answer? How has he never had to answer ever for that?
Best, but fair playing field.
There are 20 states that still have the federal minimum wage at $7.25.
What is the Hannibal Directive? The Hannibal Directive is every single time Israel finds disloyal Jews, they shoot them and they kill them with their own military. And then they blame them on poor Palestinian children.
And I actually have a map. 19 of these states actually voted for you, sir.
Yep.
Yep.
And you can see it.
Yeah.
Right
I like how this is the only fucking piece of paper chart she brings up the entire...
here. I don't know if you
Right.
remember this, but during the debate in
I
2020.
don't, dude. She's being so obnoxious. She's trying to. You see, like she's trying to get him mad.
Like I like how it's triggering for these guys to what happened to the party of facts over feelings? What happened to the party of facts over feelings? So these guys are all like the thinnest, most soy boy fucking snowflaked, weak-minded losers in the universe. Like, she's trying to trigger him by bringing up a fact.
I asked you
Yeah.
if you would raise the minimum wage. You said you would consider it.
Yeah.
And so my question for you is, now that you are going back to the White House, for these 19
Yeah.
states that voted for you, are you going to raise the federal
It's a very
minimum
low
wage?
number. I will agree. It's a very low number. Let me give you the downside, though.
Yeah.
In California, they raised it up to a very high number. And your restaurants are going out of business all over the place.
knows?
The population is shrinking. It's had a very negative impact. But there is a level at which you could do it, absolutely. Yeah.
What is that level, do you
I don't
think?
know. I mean, I really don't know. I can say this. You have a lot of businesses that are open and thriving because of the lower minimum wage. If you raise it too much, and you understand this, if California went...
Like, Trump is giving the most unashamed corporate propaganda talking point in the universe here, and nobody cares, right? Where are the populists at? Where are the populists at, right? Excuse me. You're telling me that there is a corporate climate in America where some businesses can only survive by paying the federal minimum wage? Is that what you're trying? Like, this is the same argument that neocons used to use for more immigration, that the illegals work for cheap. Like, where's the outrage? Where's the populist fervor?
Crazy. They went crazy. And people, the restaurants are closing all over. Many more people are hurt.
So I hear you saying, similarly to sort of what you said in 2020, will you consider it? Is this something you're going to look at?
I'd want to speak to the governors. And the other thing that's very complicated about minimum wages is places are so different. Mississippi and Alabama and great places are very different than New York or California. I mean, in terms of the cost of living and other things. So it would be nice to have just a minimum wage for the whole country, but it wouldn't work because you have places where it's very inexpensive.
And he's right about that. The thing, he's right.
To
Kill me.
Yeah, he is.
Where a minimum wage, which is $8 or $9, might be, might have very little effect because the cost of living in certain places is really low.
Yeah, no, he's totally right about that.
Like, this is like, it's like we're watching retards doing math and we're like applauding every time they get like single digit addition correct. Like 9 plus 7 is 16. He's right. He's right. He is right. That's my president. He's funny.
What's this?
What's wrong with that? Nothing is wrong with that, but it's not an impressive thing to be correct about. Yes, this is why federal minimum wages are fucking retarded. I don't suck my dick, Bernie bros. Different states do have different costs of living. I think a federal minimum wage at too high of a number is stupid. But you don't get bonus points for having the most like brain dead obvious, especially when the rest of the interview is a softball retarded interview where you're saying the most outrageous fucking shit in the universe. What gives people like Asmongold the confidence to talk or something to talk so confidently about something they know nothing about? Why is this hard for them to just admit that they don't know something? Because it's just audience feedback. Audience likes what you say, so you keep saying the same thing. I mean, really, at the end of the day, he's doing the same thing Trump is doing, which is the same thing the reporters are doing, which is the same thing that he's doing, which is the same thing that the audience is doing, right? We have a vibe. The vibe is like, I guess the vibe is basically whatever Trump wants it to be. So Trump has like a vibe, like square clouds are hurting America. And then he'll go on Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan will be like, really? And Trump will be like, there's a lot of different clouds, and square ones are definitely the worst. And Joe Rogan's like, okay. And then he'll go to a reporter, and the reporter will be like, you said this about square clouds, and there's no evidence of that. Trump's like, wrong. There's lots of evidence of that the square clouds are hurting us. And like, oh, shit, okay. And then people on Twitter are now posting photographs of liberals screaming or crying with square clouds in the background. And then people like Asmongold see this, and then they watch an interview of Trump, and Trump brings up the square clouds, and Trump has talked about the square clouds. Nobody in the podcast circuit has pushed back about the square clouds. Maybe even a square cloud scientist is now being quoted by everybody. The reporters won't push back on the square cloud thing. All the people on social media are talking about square clouds. So then Asmongold says, like, yeah, I mean, square clouds. And that's it. This is like, it's the whole cycle of, it's like the human centipede, except it's connected at the head and asshole from the first and third person as well.
About the edit the Constitution. Oh, here we go. Millionaires agreeing with billionaires. What a timeline. Well, I think they should raise the minimum wage too. Actually, I don't really think, I don't see the point for raising the minimum wage because like people aren't really being paid minimum wage in most jobs. So like, I don't really think that's going to matter in a lot of cases.
This is true. The minimum wage is like the least important of our policies regarding labor. But this is going to be the only thing we talk about. It is true. It's just a dog shit thing to fixate on.
But I don't think it really makes a difference because you're going to have universal basic income 30 years anyway.
I'm responding to this. I'm just letting you all know that I know, and you should know, that this is a joke thing. The person who typed this doesn't believe it, and we're all playing a game right now. This is all part of our theater, okay? And this guy is one of the actors that's come forth to deliver a line. Okay. As an Asmongold viewer, he laughs at crazy things that Trump says that Asmongold personally disagrees with. Just because he laughs doesn't mean he agrees with it, right? So the joke here on this part of the script is that we are appealing to the fact that in a vacuum, somebody can read something and laugh at it, okay? And that doesn't necessarily mean they agree with it, but we know, like stepping back from the play, that this is an obviously fucking retarded thing to say because Asmongold's audience is like 90% Trump supporters. I think we saw them run polls in his chat over who they wanted to win, and that Asmongold does not offer any substantive pushback against Donald Trump or the things that he says ever, but he does with Kamala Harris a ton, and that's reflected in both his channel and his audience. So that's why we know in the real world that what you just said was fucking retarded, but it's like part of the play. That was a good line. Thank you for participating.
Like, let's be honest.
You've promised to end birthright citizenship on day one. Is that still your plan?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn. Bro. Oh, shit. Anchors away, yeah. Just changing that entirely, yes. Just, yeah, oh my God.
14th Amendment, though, says that, quote, all persons born in the United States are citizens. Can you get around the 14th Amendment with an executive action?
Get a change.
You promised.
That's it. Just going to change it. Oh, man. Start birthright was a bit of an exploit. If the United States was a video game, there would be a patch fixing that exploit.
Fuck. I was going to pause this before. And I was going to talk about how I was just going to bring up that I bet, again, if Kamala had said anything about social issues, Asmongold making 20 videos about it, but since Trump says ridiculous shit, he laughs at it, and then I know there'd be some guy posting a chat. Just because Asmongold laughs at this doesn't mean that he agrees with it, but now I let it play for too long. So he does, okay, so he does agree with getting rid of birthright citizenship. Okay.
Let's be honest. Of course. Yes, it obviously is an exploit.
Why not just watch the interview? Why are we going down this Twitter account of the most selected clips? And this is this like all of Twitter, or is this just like one? Why not just?
Peeling and replacing.
When John McCain let us down by voting, and Murkowski and Collins,
every other country stopped doing it. I'm not sure.
Voted against, but they really let us down. They did us a great disservice because we would have had great health. Obamacare is lousy health care. It's very expensive health care for the people. It's also expensive for the country, but for the people, it's lousy health care. When John McCain gave his thumbs down after saying for 10 years that he wants to repeal and replace, okay? And then he came out, put his now famous thumbs down.
I think that every solution for healthcare that's not single-payer systems is bad.
That's the odds. Just there's no way. There are no marginal improvements. There's nothing you can do to make things better. It's an all or nothing of the most extreme solution you can think of, or it's just okay.
Every solution that necessitates insurance is bad.
Keep in mind, places like Canada and most countries, you can buy separate insurance, but okay.
It's like the window in which we're looking at solutions to healthcare is too small. And it's always been like this. Luigi Milkes, yeah, I'm just saying you should shoot the people that run the services, but I don't agree with it. Yeah.
And he became a hero to the left. Let me tell you, if we find something better, I would love to do it. But unless we find, but one thing I have to say, I inherited Obamacare or anything else you want to go. It's got about 20 names, but I inherited it. And I had a decision to make with Health and Human Services. I had a big decision to make. Do I make it as good as we can make it, or do I let it rot?
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain single payer for normies?
Yeah, exactly. Wait, what did Trump do? We're just playing. This is just a Trump propaganda channel. Holy fuck! Somebody in the chat said it. You're right. He's just the Hassan for the right, I guess. Oh my god. It's the monkey paw, right? This is, oh, I understand the monkey paw meme now. Like 2 months ago, I was like, I just wish that there was pushback against Hassan on Twitch. And this is it. It's the right-wing populist pushback.
Basically, your taxes are higher and the government gives you health care. That's what I think the solution is. Because so think about it like this.
That's what single payer is. That's what it means.
Single payer for
As we can make it, or do I let it rot?
Yeah, exactly. Can you explain single payer for normies? Basically, your taxes are higher and the government gives you health care. Okay. That's what I think the solution is.
Okay,
because
true.
So think about it like this. Every dollar spent on healthcare that goes to a private company, a lot of that money is paid out in dividends and big CEO salaries and payouts to other people. So there's a lot of excess money that the company collects because it's a for-profit company. All of that excess money is being added to the total amount of healthcare cost an individual has. So if you remove the profit aspect of it and it just simply existed to serve a function, then you would have lower costs because you would not have all of this extra money that needs to be made as profit.
Wow.
Just, it's so fucking obvious.
It's so obvious. Profit does extract money from the healthcare services. That is true. Now, whether that leads to any improvements or not, I don't know. It's not even worth arguing about with any audience, including mine. But it wouldn't account for it wouldn't account for the bulk of the extra money that we spend on services. Even if you removed all the profit from the healthcare sector, it wouldn't necessarily fix like the majority. I think more than like 20 or 25% maybe of all healthcare costs in the U.S. But
yeah, so public healthcare, yeah, absolutely. I think that you should have private healthcare as well. I don't think that it should be illegal to have private healthcare, but people should be able to rely on public healthcare. The people whose lives really get fucked up by healthcare are not the lower class or the upper class, it's the middle class. Because lower class people, and if you're really fucking broke, you just show up to the emergency room. That's what you do. Like, I'm
gonna kill myself. He was partially correct. Middle class people probably get fucked the most because they're on very unfortunate like fiscal cliffs. Like you don't hold on. No, never mind. I'm in a good mood. I'm not banning you. Like working class people or poor people get access to Medicaid. Wealthier people have access to have access to private insurance and shit. And then older people have access to Medicare. But if you're poor, it's that you have access to things like Medicaid or other help. It's not that you can just go to the emergency room over and over and over again. I don't know where this take came from.
But people should be able to rely on public health care. the people whose lives really get fucked up by healthcare are not the lower class or the upper class. It's the middle class. Because lower class people, and if you're really fucking broke, you
It was funny that you disagreed when Hassan said the exact same thing about what?
just show up to the emergency room. That's what you do. Like, I had to take my mom to the emergency room probably 10 times. Every single time we'd get a bill, you know what we do with the bill? We throw it away. And then we go to the emergency room again, and we get another bill. That's it. And it would just keep happening. And so it's not a big deal. And also, we had something called the MAP program. That's what it is here in Texas.
I'm sorry, my mind has been so brain rotted. Doesn't MAP have to do with fucking kids? Am I making this up? What am I thinking of? Am I? That's a real thing? No, I'm sure it's a real thing. Oh, minor attracted person. Didn't conservatives say that liberals or progressives were trying to add pedophiles to LGBTQ with the MAP thing or whatever? But my brain is rotted. I'm sorry. Okay.
That's it. And it would just keep happening. And so it's not a big deal. And also, we had something called the MAP program. That's what it is here in Texas. And if you make under a certain amount of money, you then have your health care paid for by MAP.
There you go.
Which is, like, it turned your copay from being like my copay for getting dental work done, they like pulled out a tooth, was $10. Literally $10. Like, you don't have to pay anything. And I could have also just walked out and not paid it. How's that not?
Destiny, I was pretty against your take on health insurance companies, but then after looking at UHC's profit margins, and they are only 6%, I'm sort of coming around to your way of thinking. It's not like they're adding much fluff to the current system. Good for you. However, if you weren't a fucking retard, okay, like all of you are, what you would say is, Destiny, I know that you like to focus on profit over revenue, but shouldn't we actually look at the entire operating costs of all of the health insurance companies? Because it's not that we're worried about the profit, it's that the administrative load of these companies, period, could be reduced if the healthcare providers themselves could provide the coverage. So we should really be looking at the total expenditures of all of these companies, right? Technically, you could say that, but it doesn't matter.
Not the same as government healthcare? It is. But what I'm saying is that the real squeeze on people comes from people that make too much money to qualify for government assistance, and they make too little money to be able to afford private healthcare without it affecting their budget. Those are the people that are very negatively affected. It's the middle, I'd say like probably 50% of people, probably maybe 70, 80% of people, really. So yeah, that's my experience at least.
What does it mean? That's his experience. Or I guess it was a poor and rich person, maybe? I don't know.
A lot of political people said, let it rot and let it be a failure.
Yeah.
I said, that's not the right thing to do. And
somebody says free healthcare in Canada has issues too. What if I told you that we have issues with healthcare here? I used to think Canadian healthcare was really...
Congrats on being born. Thank you.
...really bad until I asked a few people, and then they all told me, like, no, it's fine. I've been there.
Why I hate my life? I'm the problem. It's because I'm autistic. I'm autistic. I have autism. I acknowledge that.
Bad issues with healthcare here.
Okay. You have an opinion about a comprehensive system that impacts the lives of 20, 30, 40 million people? How many people live in Canada? Canada population. 40 million individuals are affected by this massive system. If you wanted to collect comprehensive information about that system and how it compares to the rest of the world, how would you go about doing that?
I used to think Canadian healthcare was really bad until I asked a few people, and then they all told me, like, no, it's fine. I've been there and it's okay. So I think that people having bad interactions is always true, but that's not something that's probably limited to Canada.
Oh, we would just ask a few people. Oh, okay.
And I know that, like, my mom had bad experiences with private healthcare here. Like, that's what happens no matter what.
very good people in the medical area that handled that. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, we really have an obligation to make it as good as we can. And we did. We made it as good as we can make it. Instead of making it bad where everybody would be calling for its repeal, I made it so that it works. Now,
But you
it
did
works.
try to overturn.
I did dislike the fact that Obamacare necessitated you paying insurance.
Where do you think the money for single payer is going to come from, Asmongold? Why would you say this? He's going to say something to rectify that situation. To this, what did he just say? He's about to change. He's going to say, there's a way, actually. There's a way to salvage that statement. There's a way to salvage that statement. I've looked forward into 1,342 million universes, and in 17 of them, Asmongold's next line is, if we want to have socialized healthcare, then we should just have socialized healthcare, but I'm uncomfortable that the U.S. federal government forces me to pay private companies for insurance. Okay. You're cleared for takeoff, Asmongold. If you say anything besides that, it is the most retarded thing I've ever heard on his stream before.
I thought it was a government overreach. When a person is legally compelled to pay a private company, I think that's disgusting.
Okay. It's not the worst take.
Yeah, like just straight up the mandate. Yeah, that's the main reason I didn't like it. Car insurance?
How is this not dumb too? It is kind of dumb, but it's better than, it is what it is.
I think car insurance is slightly different.
Because you don't have a right to drive. Driving is a privilege, but you should have a right to health care?
Because you're using public roads. And so it's like you're basically like paying for the roads and you're affecting other people. And it's also...
What do you think? What do you think do you think the hospitals are built just for you? Like there's one hospital per person? Or what do you think insurance and healthcare coverage like pays for? And when you pay the hospitals and the doctors?
For the other person and not necessarily yourself. Like your car insurance is meant to pay for the other person's damages also. But also, like, I do have that viewpoint for car insurance as well. But health insurance, I very strongly believe that. And car insurance, I'm not as strongly motivated. Yeah, driving is, that's also a really great point too, is that you don't have to drive, but you do have to
have health insurance? Or
have healthcare, right?
You understand, like, not to be an asshole, but like being able to drive is probably more important for most Americans than having access to a hospital, right? It would suck if you got really sick and needed to go to the hospital, but like my guess would be 80% of Americans probably couldn't, like, they just wouldn't be able to survive without a car. Like, for the percentage of Americans that have like life-ending healthcare situations, that would suck, but way more would probably need to drive than need to go to the hospital.
Turn it,
It's
sir.
well, it's
you did
lousy.
try to overturn it. You did have your justice.
Destiny, not everyone owns a car. Everyone is alive, though. You don't need to go to a hospital to be alive. What do you mean? You can't live without health care? What do you... never mind. I'm just banning and moving on. I'm just ban and move on. Okay. I don't think driving outweighs healthcare in a basic right scale. That's great. I'm glad you think that. I don't want to hear it from rich kids, okay? No rich kids. We need to have an income cutoff, okay? We need to have an income cutoff in my chat for saying retarded fucking statements, okay? In the United States of America, you cannot survive without a car. You have to have a car to drive and go to work. Most people are reasonably healthy, such that they're probably okay without doctor's visits. That's how health works. Generally speaking, most people are reasonably healthy.
This department try to direct the Supreme Court to.
No, we got a little bit of a surprising opinion, to be honest with you. If it would have been overturned, we would have had much.
That's not true. What did I just say that wasn't true? you can't live without healthcare, that's not what you meant to say, because there are living humans that have never seen the inside of a hospital, believe it or not. I don't even know what that statement meant. Like, what do you think is the percentage of Americans that have like a life-threatening visit to the hospital below the age of like 35, but below the age of like 50? If you get cancer and are looking at death without medication, I think driving would be the least of your worries. How many, do you think the average person has cancer? Why is my audience not even immune to the AIDS around this conversation? Like, your brain just shuts off. Do you think the average person has cancer? You need healthcare for any basic treatment. It is impossible to antibiotics or cold meds without healthcare. I know this is going to be a mind fuck to you, but you understand that, like, you can get over most diseases you can get over without antibiotics or a hospital visit. You do know that, right? Like, I'm not saying it's good to not have health care. I'm just saying that to most people, having access to an automobile is more important. Without a car, your life is over. You are done. You can't work. You can't work. You're gonna die. You have to have a car. Destiny, don't be obtuse. Rotten teeth, bad eyesight, all other sorts of stuff. Okay.
Much better health care right now. But right now, we have something that I made the best of. I could have made the worst of it, and it would have fallen by the wayside.
It's disappointing that they tried to make the...
Destiny, does the average citizen live in an area that doesn't have any transit? Most of the population lives in a city, as far as I know, so you could probably get by. Who? Hold on. That's a European. You got to be a European. Hold on. You're not European. How? Destiny, the bloat or total operating cost argument could be an interesting one. The argument you'd have to make is that the government could do it more efficiently. The argument I'm making, at the very least from a health insurance perspective, is that the profits being extracted is pretty minimal. Sure, the reason why you can argue that the government could probably administer it more efficiently, but the problem too is that you have to have you have to have more communication allowed between government administrations. But like theoretically, the government is theoretically positioned to have more control or access to information and can administer it more cleanly than having 52 million different people that like collect information about you and have different healthcare records and different whatever, like all sorts of stupid shit. Like theoretically, the government should be able to do that more efficiently, right? Speaking from personal experience, I can work and live life just fine without a car, but I 100% need healthcare. I am blind. Destiny, if you had to choose a right to drive or a right to access to healthcare, which would you choose and why? I'd probably choose healthcare because I'm rich. But if you were to ask me when I was working, obviously driving is the most important thing in the world. It's like not even close. How can you survive without? How can you survive without driving? Your life is over. Well, you can't do anything. Your life is over. What happened to millennials getting like mind fucked? It's so funny that like 5 years ago, the millennial meme is GP. I haven't been to a doctor in 15 years. And now every single millennial is getting biannual checkups. You guys are getting colonoscopies and eye exams and dental visits. You guys are doing all of this shit like every 3 months. Holy fuck. What happened? Jesus Christ. Address the bus argument? I'm not going to address the bus argument because if you're living in the United States of America and you're telling me that a person that lives in an average city can rely on the bus to get to and from work, you've just never ridden a bus in the United States before. There are like fucking 4 cities. I'm trying to think of cities I've been in with acceptable public transit. Boston and New York City are the only ones that I can think of. Fuck buses in LA. Fuck all the buses in fucking Omaha. Miami kind of has some, but like you're talking about like hours and hours maybe out of your day, depending upon where you're going and depending on how far out you live. Also, you're also taking into account these are only people that are living in like the most densest parts of these cities. But like if you live like a commute out, like if you live in like if you work in Chicago, are you taking a bus from like a suburb like 40 minutes away to work? Is that possible?
The best of it. I think they should totally throw it out and do single payer healthcare. I have like, I'm gonna be honest, like
Address the sleeping at work argument. What is the sleeping at work argument?
I don't really care what they do until they do that.
I did the right thing from a human standpoint, but you know, I'm sort of proud of my decision. At the same time, sometimes I regret it. I told the people, and I gave them the money to do it. I said, fix it, make it work, because people would have suffered. Mm-hmm. But it's too bad that they voted no. I wish John McCain.
Now, this is an auto insurance website, so maybe their stats are biased. Okay, I don't know. The most common commuting modes. In 2022, 77% of Americans drove. 69% drove alone, 9% carpooled. Public transportation, excluding a taxi, 3%.
I wish he fought for 10 years on replacing Obamacare for 10 years, and then he voted against. Nobody understands it.
Sir, you said during the campaign you had concepts of a plan. Do you have an actual plan at this point for health care?
Probably not.
Yes, we have concepts of a plan that would be better.
Still just concepts? Do you have a fully developed plan?
Let me explain.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have a full plan. There's no plan. No.
What was that? What the fuck is wrong with her? This lady literally hates this man. He's thinking.
We have
single pay going to hurt the lower and middle income way too much. 50% taxes, wage too high.
The biggest healthcare company.
Still just concepts. The plan is no plan. Why are her eyes like that? Does she do cocaine? I don't like her.
He's looking at it. We have doctors. We're always looking because Obamacare stinks. It's lousy. There are better answers. If we come up with a better...
I think that RFK, what they need to do whenever he gets in charge, assuming that happens, right? Big assume. But they need to make it to where you can't take electives in high school that...
Bro, just acting like bikes and electric scooters don't exist. Not even to mention a lot of the people in my town just walk to work. I'm so sorry, my friend. Okay? The difference between me and you is that I'll just look at stats and numbers to figure out what's going on, and then I'll talk to a lot of people to try to flesh out my opinion more if I need to. You have your one lived experience, and then you scream it in my chat, and then you just say that I'm out of touch when you are giving one of the most niche... What did that poll say? Was it 1% of people who walk to work? What percentage of people in the United States of America even have the opportunity to walk to work? Like, I'm sorry, but you're just giving a fucking delusional take. 1% used a bicycle, 2% walked. The fuck out of here.
Replace physical...
How many people work from home in that poll? It's at 15%, which is a huge number. I wonder if that went up after COVID. Yes, holy shit. In 2019, it was 6%, then 7%, then 18%, and then 15%. Almost tripled. Damn.
Education, and physical education is mandatory for everybody. Because the real issue... You can't take electives in high school that replace physical education, and physical education is mandatory for everybody. Because the real issue, the reason why people need health...
I'm sorry, just as a quick thing, PE in high school wouldn't do fuck all for improving the health of the United States. Like, it might be better than nothing. Well, also, what the fuck do you think PE is? Wait, what was... I'm sorry. Sorry, hold on, let me back up, because maybe my schooling experience was different. What was PE for you guys in high school? Because it was like a health class for us. Like, sometimes we did, I think, we did like basketball or random shit, but generally it was like in class and it was a health class, and you wrote about like, I don't even remember what the fuck, like a health bio or health sciences, basically. I guess if instead of PE, if it was literally just like you had to fucking go to the gym for 45 minutes, that would maybe be good, but...
Healthcare, they need more healthcare. It's because everybody's fat and they don't do anything. Like, if you go back and you look at, like, you know, videos and photos of, like, you know, high schools back in the day, people were in much better shape than they are now.
Yeah, but the food is the most important part to address here. The adding the gym or health bullshit, will make, that's like a 2% improvement, and like food is like a 90% improvement.
Like, I see, like, I'm driving, you know, to fucking Burger King, and I see, like, all the high school kids. There's so many fat kids. Holy shit, look at all the hogs. The little piglets walking around. You can't have that. What is that? No. Fuck them, yeah, consumption's bad. Yeah, exactly.
Answer. I would present that answer to Democrats.
Even elementary school. Like, you see all the little piglets walking home from school. You shouldn't be 170 pounds if you're in 4th grade. That's too much. Stop eating food. They eat too much. Yes. And you have physical education become mandatory. JFK.
The market can't solve for roads the exact same way it does for healthcare. Roads necessarily has to be a public good, and healthcare does not. It's simple theory. I don't know what that statement even means. There's a lot of public good in investing in healthcare because we all have to bear the cost publicly, and we all benefit from having healthy citizens. And I think there are a lot of external failures when it comes to healthcare. That's why there's so much government involvement in healthcare already, even though it is a quote-unquote private market.
Okay, actually had a national mandate for exercising our youth. His speech even speaks to it, and about not being right seeing a chubby child. I completely agree with that. I do, like 100%. And I think also it's going to help. So, like, the issue is that being fat and being unhealthy is something that causes secondary effects and tertiary effects as well. So, like, basically, there's this...
Didn't you guys do the fitness gram pacer test? No, I think, because I went to a private school, I don't think we had it. That might have only been a public school thing.
Causes secondary effects and tertiary effects as well. So, like, basically, there's this second-order effect of being fat that now you have low self-esteem. And then the third-order effect of now you have depression because girls don't want to talk to you because you're fucking fat. So if RFK puts your fat ass on a treadmill and you're not fat and you look normal, well, then maybe they'd be wanting to talk to you. You wouldn't have as much depression.
If If I was Barack, I would be having my fucking wife on a 24/7 psychiatric hold for the next 2 years. Because if I was Michelle Obama, I would fucking kill myself hearing conservatives finally pretending to give a fuck about the health of children in schools when this was like her whole fucking push, and conservatives basically shit on her for the entire 4 years that she was like pushing this. They shit on her so much for, you want to make vegetables and blah, 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 the government overreach, blah. They attacked Michelle so much over this. And now all of a sudden
you wouldn't feel fucking upset and everything would be fine. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, you have less incels. That's it. You look at the symptoms and you don't fix the disease. That's the problem. I heavily disagree with this being a legal mandate. I don't. I think that schools right now...
Healthcare does not have to be a public good. Roads do have to be public goods. I don't know what you mean by that. That's not necessarily true. We have private roads. That's what a turnpike is. You could theoretically have private roads. Well, you could just charge people fees for... I was shooting heroin and reading The Fountainhead in the front seat of my privately owned police cruiser when a call came in. I put a quarter in the radio to activate it. It was the chief. Bad news, detective. We got a situation. What? Is the mayor trying to ban trans fats again? Worse. Somebody just stole $447 million worth of bitcoins. The heroin needle practically fell out of my arm. What kind of monster would do something like that? Bitcoins are the ultimate currency. Virtual, anonymous, stateless. They represent true economic freedom, not subject to arbitrary manipulation by any government. Do we have any leads? Not yet, but mark my words. We're going to figure out who did this. We're going to take them down, provided someone pays us a fair market rate to do so. Easy, Chief, I said. Any rate the market offers is, by definition, fair. He laughed. That's why you're the best I got, Lazowski. Now you get out there and find those bitcoins. Don't worry, I said. I'm on it. I put a quarter on the siren. 10 minutes later, I was on the scene. It was a normal office building, strangled on all sides by public sidewalks. I hopped over them and I went inside. Home Depot presents the police, I said, flashing my badge and my gun and a small picture of Ron Paul. Nobody moves unless you want to. They didn't. Now, which one of you punks is going to pay me to investigate this crime? No one spoke up. Come on, I said. Don't you all understand that the protection of private property is the foundation of all personal liberty? It didn't seem like they did. Seriously, guys, without a strong economic motivator, I'm just going to stand here and not solve this case. Cash is fine, but I prefer being paid in gold bullion or autographed Penn Jillette posters. Nothing. These people were stonewalling me. It almost seemed like they didn't care that a fortune in computer money invented to buy drugs was missing. I figured I could wait them out. I lit several cigarettes indoors. A pregnant lady coughed, and I told her that secondhand smoke is a myth. Just then, a man in glasses made a break for it. Subway, eat fresh and freeze, scumbag, I yelled. Too late, he was already out the front door. I went after him. Stop right there, I yelled as I ran. He was faster than me because I always try to avoid stepping on public sidewalks. Our country needs a private sidewalk voucher system, but thanks to the incestuous interplay between our corrupt federal government and the public sidewalk lobby, it'll never happen. I was losing him. Listen, I'll pay you to stop, I yelled. What would you consider an appropriate price point for stopping? I'll offer you a 1/13 of an ounce of gold and a gently worn Bob Barr 2008 extra large long-sleeved men's t-shirt. He turned. In his hand was a revolver, and the Constitution said that he had every right to own. He fired at me and missed. I pulled my own gun, put a quarter in it, and fired back. The bullet lodged in a USPS mailbox less than a foot from his head. I shot the mailbox again, on purpose. All right, the man yelled, throwing down his weapon. I give up, cop. I confess. I took the bitcoins. Why'd you do it? I asked as I slapped a pair of Oiko's Greek yogurt presents handcuffs on the guy. Because I was afraid. Afraid? Afraid of an economic future, free from the pernicious meddling of central bankers, he said. I am a central banker. I wanted to cold cock the guy. Years ago, a central banker killed my partner. Instead, I shook my head. Let this be a message to all your central banker friends out in the street, I said. No matter how many bitcoins you steal, you'll never take away the dream of an open society based on the principles of personal and economic freedom. He nodded because he knew I was right. Then he swiped his credit card to pay me. I don't know why we read this.
And also, it is a legal mandate now. Like, you're required to take physical education in a lot of places. All I'm saying is that you change that to where you can't take art and replace that. Drawing anime girls should not replace walking a mile. It doesn't make sense.
What if we drew and walked at the same time?
Everybody else, and I do something about it. But until we have that, or until they can approve it, but we're not going to go through the big deal. I am the one that saved Obamacare, I will say, and I did the right thing. I could have done the more political thing and killed it, and all I had to do is starve it to death.
You did try to have your Justice Department effectively kill it, though,
No,
sir.
kill it.
Oh, and then another thing?
I like how he just stops it like every time there's something critical of. He's not even like commenting. He just doesn't even care.
Is that for all school meals, meat only. You have hamburgers on Mondays and Thursdays. You have chicken on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then on Friday, you got steak. Vegans? As I said, meat only. We want people to be healthy. Maybe you can make a garden out in the back for...
Wait, is he trolling? Or...
like the rabbits or something, and then the vegans can go out there. Maybe have fish? Yeah, fish alternative. Meat every day. That's the way it is. What about fish? Fish is fine.
From a legal standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, I made it work.
In your concepts of a plan, sir, will people with pre-existing conditions still have coverage, and can you guarantee their prices will not go up?
The answer is yes, they'll have coverage. You have to have it.
And what about their prices?
Because you know what?
What about their prices, sir?
I want the prices to go down. I want to have better health care for less money. And there are ways of doing it, I believe. And I
have to take out the middlemen that are making money off of it for no fucking reason. I mean, I gotta say, like, Luigi was right with that. Like, healthcare insurance is a fucking scam. It shouldn't exist.
True. Based king.
You shouldn't shoot the people that work there, but he was fucking right. He's completely right.
I have the smartest people in that world. You know, that's a separate world unto itself. I have the smartest people in that world looking at it and trying. And if they come up with something, I will present it. Now, maybe you won't be able to sell it, but if we get better health care for less money, I believe it's very saleable.
Just very quickly, when will we see your fully developed plan? When are you going to show
I don't know
the
that you'll
public
see it at all. I can only say that we have some of the best healthcare people. I've always
That's reassuring.
tinkered with it. I think it's a little hard to explain. Obamacare, when I took it over, was a disaster. And I made it
has insured
workable.
20 million people.
Yeah, because of me. Because of me.
Oh, man. Jesus.
If you look at what I did, I was the one. I made it good.
You tried to
legally.
repeal and replace it. You tried to kill it,
Because if I repealed
sir.
it and replaced it, we would have had a better system because we wouldn't have had health care. And the Democrats would have been forced to do something. If we wouldn't have had it, the Democrats would have been forced to do something that they wouldn't do if we have it.
Yep. Insurance companies fine. They just need regulation.
What is the? I don't even know.
In Europe, you have it, and they basically can't deny anything. Hospital deals with them directly. You never hear anything about it. It's just like utilities. Yeah, maybe that'd be a better solution. Yeah, sure.
That what? Wait.
they wouldn't do if we have it.
Yep. Insurance companies fine. They just need regulation. In Europe, you have it, and they basically can't deny anything. Hospital deals with them directly. You never hear anything about it. It's just like utilities. Yeah, maybe that'd be a better solution. Yeah, sure.
Oh, I mean, this is just like single payer, basically, right?
It was a disaster because of Obama. Saved 20 million because of him. This guy's dope. Yeah, for sure. So, Wade, want to say condo's been great lately? Thanks, man. Yeah. Was Obamacare really that bad? It helped me a lot when I needed coverage. Obamacare had a lot of good things, like, for example, how you couldn't deny people for pre-existing conditions. The thing is that a lot of people, it was so long ago now, people don't remember how much of trouble it was for people to get healthcare coverage when you could deny them based off of pre-existing conditions.
True.
So it's kind of like an issue where basically, so it increased the cost.
Did you crank the saturation of camera? No, the color spaces that this camera, I think, naturally shoots in doesn't play well with OBS. So somebody gave me a LUT for it. If you think it's too saturated, then send me a different LUT for the camera. Get fucked.
Because obviously, like, the reason why okay, so let me take a step back. How do insurance companies make money? They make money by averaging against actuarial tables, which are basically degrees of risk. They look at somebody's age, they look at all of their demographics, and then they have a calculator for how much money this person will probably cost. So basically, when you have to add in people that are really big draws on that. So, like, for example,
I'm fucking shocked. I would have bet so much money that he would have absolutely no idea how any of this works. So I'm shocked that he understands this. But
add in somebody who's disabled, right? Somebody has cerebral palsy, for example. This is going to massively increase the average. So if you have an average of people that are relatively healthy, you can afford to keep your premiums lower and maintain the same profit, right? And so, again, the profit, you could say, is the problem, but this is a for-profit company, so we're just going to assume that that's what's going to happen. And so what happens is that the insurance companies, what they do is they effectively try to take the people out of the system that would cost a lot of money. Because, like, these are the people, the extremes, that raise everybody else's costs up. And so that's what the insurance companies used to do, and then they became compelled to have to give them insurance anyway, which is how it should have been. Oh.
Wait, say that last part again?
And so that's what the insurance companies used to do, and then they became compelled to have to give them insurance anyway, which is how it should have been. Oh. Bro. He's not even the president, he's doing this shit. State 51. It was a pleasure to have dinner the other night with a huge wedge issue with a lot of people. I never said this can't be real. I used to think that. Jesus, how's he posting this much?
They do this, but their profits aren't directly from premium deltas. Where else do insurance companies' revenue come from besides premiums? What other revenues do they have? I genuinely don't know. What are insurance companies' largest revenues? Health insurance. Investing? In what? In like T-bonds or like the market or? Oh, Statista, this dog shit fucking website. I hate this site. I don't trust it. The same as pension, they do market investments. Gotcha. Well, wait, if you say page 41. Well, if you say investments, though, investments are made off of their premiums, right? Revenues. United Health Group. Is this in millions of dollars? In millions. Okay. So off of premiums, they made 290 billion. Products, 42 billion. Services, 34 billion. Investments and other incomes, 4 billion. Wait. Does anybody have any other source on the investment part, or did all of you just collectively make that up? Anybody? I'm going to use the restroom real quick. When I come back, there better be a post in here about them making a huge amount of money from investments, or else I'm going back and I'm banning every fucking person that said that. Be right back. One sec. Did somebody find the investment income link? Nope. Okay, gotcha. So we just... Interesting. We just made all that up. Okay.
He doesn't give a fuck. He actually doesn't give a fuck now. This is going to be insane. America is going to start building monuments again. Any person investing $1 billion or more in the United States will receive fully expedited approvals and permits. Oh boy, oh boy. Let's see. Oh, this is him retweeting Biden falling asleep. President of our lifetime about him. Oh my fucking God.
Let's talk about Project 2025. This is the conservative policy blueprint. You disavowed it during the campaign. You called it a product of the radical right.
Yeah.
You've said some of their ideas were abysmal.
I said some of it is. Some of it is very...
I love how he gets elected. I never said... Of course we're going to do Project 2025. Yeah, I mean, duh.
Very good. Some of it's very mainstream, actually. Frankly, the Democrats should have used some of it because they went, you know, with all the transgender that they were doing, or with the men playing in women's sports. Well, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better.
Well,
Trump's right. He's completely right. This was a huge wedge issue with a lot of people because it was a direct insult to people's intelligence.
So you take me to my question.
With a lot.
They would have done better.
Well,
with the men playing in women's sports, if they wouldn't have done that, maybe they would have done better.
Well,
Trump's right. He's completely right.
Why? Like, notice that how selective it is for the shit that he gives a fuck about. Like the deportation of the revoking birthright citizenship, like all the wacky, goofy things he said before. Like these are just like kind of, he's like not even listening. And then it's like trans people. Oh yeah, he's absolutely correct. This is a huge issue. Thanks, Nate, for giving 11 subs.
This was a huge wedge issue with a lot of people because it was a direct insult to people's intelligence.
So you take me to my question. You're now giving people involved in Project 2025 prominent roles in your administration. Are you changing your mind about Project 2025? Is this now the policy blueprint for the second Trump administration?
Some people, if you take a look at the group, it was hundreds of people were involved. And I was actually, I reprimanded the whole group. I said, you shouldn't have placed this document in front of the voters because I have nothing to do with it and I'm the one that's running. You had no right to do this where you put a 1,000-page document in front, and many of those things I disagree with. Now, many of those things I happen to agree with. Many of those things Democrats...
After he said he hasn't read or doesn't know anything. Okay.
Should have agreed to. And I think they would have done much better in the election because they got slaughtered.
Well, I guess people see the list. Russ Vought, Brendan Carr, Peter Navarro, John Ratcliffe, Pete Hoekstra, Monica Crowley.
The inventor has some intentions. Yeah, it's pretty obvious, you know, that she's not a fan of Trump. Yeah.
This is why you should feel bad if you're in the mainstream media. You should also feel bad because you're doing all this work just to try to get them to respect you, and they won't. These people are authoritarians. These people are fashy fucks. They're not going to respect you ever, right? Asmongold doesn't give a fuck that this is one of the most this isn't even softball. This is T-ball. This is one of the most T-ball interviews I've ever seen in my fucking life. And dipshits like this chud fuck are still saying things like, oh yeah, well, you know, it's obvious that she fucking hates Trump. Like, oh, she's trying to set him up so much she's trying to trigger him with the picture. Like, why are you even trying? Why not just like do a real interview? You're never, ever, ever getting people like this to say that you're doing a good job. You're never going to do it. So why not just...
They think these are all of the people who were involved in or writing Project 2025. This must be a blueprint for work requirements, eliminating the Head Start program, criminalizing pornography. Is that what we can expect to see?
Well, I don't know how they voted. I don't know. I never spoke to them actually about it. And I purposely, and I told you, normally it would be just the opposite. I'd review every page. I purposely didn't even want to see it. Because when somebody like you asked me a question about Project 2025, I can honestly say I've never seen it. I have nothing to do with it. I didn't read it, but
I believe that. I don't think he read it.
Well, then what do you feel about him saying there are things that he agrees with about it and things that he doesn't like?
I don't think he did. Does anybody actually think he read it? Of course not.
I did hear some things in there that I would totally disagree with.
Yeah.
And I said to the people that were really the people behind it, you know who those people are?
So what? How can he disagree with some of the things in it? Is he just admitting to making shit up, or that other people are filling him in on it, or?
I said, you really had no right doing this to me, because they used it as a soundbite, the Democrats. And I don't know, it couldn't have been too effective because they got slaughtered, but they did use it as a soundbite.
But to people who see, oh, he's bringing in all of these people from Project 2025, he must know what it is.
Well,
you know what?
I don't know what it is, no. I don't know what it is.
Why the fuck would I read it? Here's the reason why. Is like, I'm sure there's something, if it's a 1,000-page document, there's probably something in Project 2025 that I agree with. But like, it doesn't mean I agree with everything. It's like, you can't...
Then like, wouldn't the point of a good interview or an honest man be to say, these are the things that I agree with, these are the things that I disagree with, instead of just speaking in these vague bullshit-ass generalities that leave us no more informed at the end of the interview than we were at the very beginning? Like, wouldn't that be the next stage of the conversation?
You can't look at an idea and be like, okay, well, you have a shopping basket full of ideas. You have to take the entire basket and take everything at the same time. No. There are ideas that exist independently, and if this is a good idea, then do it. If it's not, then don't. It's very simple.
You still don't know
But
what
I
it is?
heard
All these
certain
people
things
are
that I
coming
didn't
in from
like.
your-
And by the way,
Yeah.
I heard certain things that are phenomenal. Okay?
Like what?
Well,
Like law and order. We want law and order.
Okay.
Okay? Little things like, let's put prisoners in jail. Let's not let people come out and raid every drugstore in Manhattan so that we have to put glass up and every store is going out of business.
I think a lot of people agree with that. I mean, I know I do. I think that the majority of people agree with that. Is that not already the law? No, it's not. Well, I mean, so basically they did this for a while. I don't know if they still are doing it, where basically they said that if you stole something of less of, I think it was $1,000, they weren't going to like go after you. So like that's what it was. Enforce the law? Yeah, right. And so, and this is why like a lot of the stores now, I mean, I swear to God, I mean, the jewelry stores have less security than a fucking CVS in some of these photos I see. I'll be right back.
And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half.
Don't you think the leader should know the ideology and plans of those that they lead? His excuse
Oh, whoa, what is that, a real chat question?
is that you never read it for months. It's just ignorance by admission at this point. No, I don't think that I don't think that all of those ideas have to exist inside of each other. Yeah, I don't think you need to read, like, people have like a very strong adherence to like an all or nothing perspective where it's like you either have to agree with all of these things or none of them, or you have to agree with another group of all of these things or none of them. The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Now I want you to listen closely. Let's play a game.
Have like a think that all of no uses the don't you think the
We're going to play a game. I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to listen closely to what Asmongold says. That's all you have to do. Close your eyes and listen closely to what Asmongold says. That's all you have to do.
Deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half.
Don't you think the leader should know the ideology and plans of those that they lead? His excuse is that you never read it for months. It's just ignorance by admission at this point. No, I don't think that I don't think that all of those ideas have to exist inside of each other. Yeah, I don't think you need to read, like, people have like a very strong adherence to like an all or nothing perspective where it's like you either have to agree with all of these things or none of them, or you have to agree with another group of all of these things or none of them. The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Can you summarize what the fuck he just said? What the fuck did he just say? Destiny, why are people so hung up on whether Trump literally read the document itself? The authors are it's not. They're not. Hold on. Rugarg. Sorry. Hold on. Listen. Welcome. Come to the audience. Come sit in the audience, okay? For maybe the rest of my life. Now, my only goal is to just point out that this is theater, okay? Nobody actually believes this. You're watching a performance right now from Asmongold, okay? There are certain, like in the philosophy of language, I think, right? There are maxims for conversations. Fuck, I wish I could. There were 4 of these. These were so good. And every single person. Oh, it's the cooperative principle. Somebody emailed me about this. I read this. This is good. Intuitively, I'm going to read you something, but intuitively, you all know this, okay? Our talk exchanges do not normally consist of a succession of disconnected remarks and would not be rational if they did. They are characteristically, to some degree at least, cooperative efforts, and each participant recognizes in them, to some extent, a common purpose or set of purposes, or at least a mutually accepted direction. This purpose or direction may be fixed from the start, for example, by an initial proposal of a question for discussion, or it may evolve during the exchange. It may be fairly definite, or it may be so indefinite as to leave very considerable latitude to the participants, as in a casual conversation. But at each stage, some possible conversational moves would be excluded as conversationally unsuitable. We might then formulate a rough general principle which participants will be expected, ceteris paribus, to observe, namely, make your conversational contribution such as is required at the stage at which it occurs by the accepted purpose or direction of the talk exchange in which you are engaged. One might label this the cooperative principle. On the assumption that some such general principle as this is acceptable, one may perhaps distinguish 4 categories under one or another of which will fall certain more specific maxims and submaxims, the following of which will, in general, yield results in accordance with the cooperative principle. Echoing Kant, I call these categories quantity, quality, relation, and manner. Basically, this just goes through, these are all things that you know these things like intuitively. Like, you don't really need these explained, but this is more like a descriptive thing, like trying to describe, like, how do humans contribute to conversations in ways that work, right? So for instance, right, like if I were to ask you, what'd you do today? Just by saying that, there's a whole bunch of shit that is, like, it's assumed what that answer is going to be, right? If you go, what did you do today? And somebody says, at 8 a.m., I ceased snoring and I rolled over and I opened my phone and I turned off my alarm clock. At 8:01 a.m., I put my left foot and then my right foot out of the bed. I sat up and then I walked into the bathroom. At 8:02 a.m., I washed my face a little bit. Like this is not, what the fuck, right? Now they're answering the question correctly, like syntactically correctly, right? If we were computers, well, they're not doing anything wrong. But like cooperatively, this is not what is being asked, right? It's not really what we're asking when we say this, you know? Now, one of the common things that Trumples will do, and a lot of people do this if they're being bad faith, is when you start to collapse some of these maxims for manipulation or disinformation purposes to try to pretend that you're not actually doing anything or saying anything incorrect, right? So when somebody says, hold on, did you read Project 2025? Everybody, but the thing is, everybody knows this. Everybody knows, including Asmongold, because remember, this is a performance, this is a play. Everybody knows. Nobody's asking, did you sit down and go through the 900 plus pages and actually read word for word everything in Project 2020? What they're asking is are you familiar with the rough ideas in it? And are you aware that people around you are trying to get these ideas passed in government? And then are you yourself trying to get these ideas passed? That's what everybody knows is to be true. So when Trump breaks some of these cooperative principles, says, I haven't read it exactly, he's acting in bad faith. And you know this because later on he acts in good faith, or when he's saying like, well, you know, there's some good ideas and there's some bad ideas. And you know, like, well, hold on, wait, I thought you didn't read it. Well, nobody's really asking if you read it cover to cover. Nobody's asking that. That's not really what's being, and everybody knows it. So this by Asmongold and by Donald Trump and by the reporter, this is all a performance, right? Everybody knows that this is like bullshit right now. This is all a performance.
The fact is that there are a lot of ideas that people have that are good independently of other ideas that are also bad.
Sorry.
And destroyed. Oh. And what did they do? They deleted and destroyed a whole year and a half worth of testimony. Do you know that I can't get? I think those people committed a major crime.
Sir?
And Cheney was behind it.
Well,
and so was Benny Thompson and everybody on that committee.
So to break this, you have to ask autistically specific questions. I don't think you can break this. Like, language relies on some level of cooperation. And remember, norms and all of these things only work when both sides are respectful. If one side is going to break the norms, there's no way that you break through it, because there's an infinite way. You've seen this with manipulative or abusive people on my stream, right? There's no way to actually break through, because what are you going to say? Well, hold on, wait, what do you mean? You're like, oh, I didn't say anything wrong, right? I didn't technically lie. And then people like Asmongold will agree, yeah, he's not lying. I agree. He probably didn't actually read the thing, right? And then if you want to support that point, there's a meta idea here about like, well, I need to support Donald Trump at all costs, right? So then you'll bob and weave and break and adhere to these particular maxims and sub-maxims so long as they further that point of supporting Donald Trump. You can't win that argument, because language at the end of the day is cooperative, and if one side is willing to break the rules, then there's no way you can't do it. I mean, I guess you could point it out, but like the problem is so many other people are willing to play along with the bad faith person, right? Because if she were to say, well, excuse me, sir, I didn't mean actually read the thing, then you'll say, oh, well, then why would you say read the thing? And now everybody's going to be playing stupid. That's true. Why did she say read the thing, right? Why did she say that? You always accuse me of reading or not reading the particular thing. I thought that was the issue. So now it's just if I heard of it, right? And then it's just going to be this game. You can't, yeah.
We're going to...
For what they did,
Yeah.
honestly, they should go to jail.
So you think Liz Cheney should go to jail?
For what they did.
Everyone on the committee, you think
I think
should go to
everybody,
jail.
anybody that voted in favor.
Are you going to direct your
Yeah, he's not going to do that.
FBI director and your attorney general to send them to jail?
No, not at all. I think that they'll have to look at that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to focus on drill, baby, drill.
When you say that,
on
it carries
strengthening the
weight,
law.
though. You've tapped these people to lead the Justice Department and FBI.
None of these important people are going to jail. They're not going to jail, guys. I know, obviously, it feels good to think about maybe it's going to happen. It's not going to happen.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah, they're too rich.
Biden-
Yeah, if you
And
have a
what did they
lot
do?
of...
Oh, they're too rich. Oh. Well, how rich is Liz Cheney? Oof. It's never a good sign when they're writing out your net worth in in every number. I'm sorry. $14 million, $15 million net worth. That's super loaded. Wow. She's ready to go. Well, this has 47 million. Huge inheritance. This has 20 million. How rich do you need to be immune from the federal government? Why does he frame it like this? Why does he get away with it? For Asmongold, I don't know. My guess is that the thing that Asmongold cares the most about is like Gamergate adjacent things. And Trump probably aligns more cleanly with that, and his audience aligns more cleanly with that. So there's probably a lot of pressure to support Trump because of his audience, and there's probably a lot of like psychosocial pressure, I guess. Like psychologically, like he aligns with Trump on some things, like the woke mob shit, and he doesn't care as much about like other boring shit like foreign or domestic policy. So there's like a lot of like internal pressure to support him there. That's my guess, but
money, and you're in politics like this, very, very unlikely that's going to happen. Extremely unlikely. Reporters baiting? Yeah, sure. I think it's really good to talk about your...
Reporter is baiting by asking a question? Like... Destiny really not going to look at combined ratio of 100%? That's the biggest misconception, is that premiums directly make the money. It's the time and investment of premiums before paying the claim. What are you talking about? Isn't health insurance like a revolving pay door like all the time? It's not like you pay into insurance and then make these huge like withdrawals later on, like life insurance or something, no? I feel like money is probably coming in and going out literally all the time. Would be my guess.
Reporters baiting? Yeah, sure. I think it's really good to talk about...
I don't know. Look at what combined ratio is, BB. Why don't you type out like what your full point is instead of like typing autistically retarded questions that are trying to bait me into a point that you're probably not even correct on? Why don't you just type out exactly what you mean? He's trying to say that the insurance makes profit on the time value of money, i.e. investing premiums and earning profits on those before they have to ever disperse claims. Yeah, but we looked up their earnings, and that's just not true. So is he just typing shit that's incorrect into chat? Because he knows what a combined ratio is, or... Okay.
About your health insurance, insight with the history of it, give more context to your opinion as CEO. Yeah, I'm starting to understand. No doubt.
Sorry.
Reporters baiting. Yeah, sure. I think it's really good to talk about your health insurance, insight with the history of it, give more context to your opinion as CEO. Yeah, I'm starting to understand. No doubt. I mean, I actually think healthcare is one of those things that it's probably, like, it should be a top 3 issue for people, but I think that it's not, and it should be.
Let me ask you this about
It's
January
amazing.
6th.
I wish you could be if you know, you have such potential. If you could be just non-biased.
Oh, God.
You hurt yourself so badly. I'm telling you.
Oh, God. He's about to glaze Trump for calling her out, even though she gave him the most fucking T-balled interview in the fucking universe. That's what he's about to do.
They deleted and destroyed all the evidence. Everyone knows
Oh, never mind. It's a different topic.
And you slough it off like it doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm
If
just
I
saying
did
they
it,
deny it. That's all I'm saying.
Kristen, if I did it, you would be standing up in that chair shouting at me. And you know what I'd do? I'd say, you got me. They have done something so illegal.
I don't
Let
know
me
what
ask
this
you
is about. It's about January 6th. Oh, God, not again.
This is your first interview since you won the election.
Congratulations.
Yes,
I hope
congratulations
you
to you.
I hope you do well with it.
Yes.
I love how he says congratulations to the news station that he wins. Oh, man. Oh, God.
And, sir, I don't have to tell you this because you've talked about it. It comes at a time when the country is deeply divided. And now you're going to be leading this country for the next 4 years. For the sake of unifying this country, will you concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter?
No. No. Why would I do that?
Oh, God. He still thinks it's fucking rigged. Like, by the way, guys, it's funny. I don't think it was rigged. I never thought it was rigged. But holy shit.
Concede the 2020 election and turn the page on that chapter.
No. No. Why would I do that?
Oh,
Let me
God.
just say, when
won't
you
ever
say the
concede.
country is deeply divided, I'm not the president. Joe Biden's the president.
But you're going to be the president.
No. I'm not the president. So when you say it's deeply divided, I agree. But Biden's the president, I'm not. And he has been a divider. And you know where he divided it more than anything else, and it probably backfired on him, I think definitely, is weaponization. When he weaponized the Justice Department and he went after his political opponent, me. He went after his political opponent.
I do think that the average person in the public sees that, and unless they are like kind of any average person sees that they're prosecuting Trump. Like, this is, if I was a Walmart American.
Like, listen to this, like, fucking dipshit, like, start to go on, like, yeah, like, Trump says, I didn't lose 20. And then it's like, Trump being prosecuted for committing arguably some of the most disgusting crimes in all of U.S. history. I think that the average American looking at that, I think, would be shocked and outraged and disgusted. And it's insane that there was so much political persecution of Donald Trump. Like,
I would see Hunter Biden, who's playing Grand Theft Auto in real life, and I would see Trump, and I would say Trump's on trial, Trump's going to go to jail for a bunch of these things, and then Biden is Hunter Biden isn't. I mean, this is no, there's obviously some bullshit happening. You're too bright for the window. Am I? Ooh.
Violently, because he knew he couldn't beat him. And I think it really was a bad thing. And it really
Maybe it's when I turn towards here.
divided our country.
Because my forehead. Yeah, that's what it is. It's very hypocritical of Biden. Exactly. And I think that that's the reason why a lot of people probably didn't take it seriously. Hunter was being prosecuted, what? Yeah, but, like, let's be real. How else, like, what do you think the reason is? Here's the issue.
you know that Hunter Biden was actually convicted of crimes as well, right? Like, does he know that? Is he aware of that, or does he not? Maybe he just doesn't literally know a single thing about literally any of these things. Is he aware? Can he even fucking read? I'm not actually sure. I don't. Maybe audiobooks at night, where he's got somebody like feeding him information. Like,
if Hunter Biden was your average guy, do you think that he would be in jail?
No, because nobody would have even thought to fucking investigate him. The entire guy that kicked off the investigation of Hunter Biden, I think just today in court, like, pled guilty to lying. Who was the guy who literally kicked off the entire thing. Now, remember, for one or two of the FISA warrants, it was enough to say the entire investigation was bullshit because somebody copy-pasted something on an email that he shouldn't have. It was enough to say that all the FISA stuff was absolutely fucking bullshit, even though that investigation started off legitimately because of stupid shit that was said by, not Scaramucci. It's on the tip of my brain in Australia. Fuck, what was the guy's name? I don't remember it. Papadopoulos. Alexander Smirnov, like, literally lied about every single thing that he told the FBI to start this Hunter Biden investigation. And we also know that Giuliani and Trump, this is what Trump was impeached for, literally made a phone call to Ukraine begging for information, okay? And asking Zelensky to make public statements about investigations when nothing had even been uncovered. We listened to the audio of Giuliani doing that. We literally listened to this phone call. So no, he wouldn't have been, because nobody would be investigating this.
With that much evidence of smoking crack and drinking and driving, would he be in jail?
Was he even charged with drinking and driving?
Everybody knows that. Everybody fucking knows that. And everybody knows why he's not.
Like, you understand that on Joe Rogan's podcast, the FBI theoretically could go and arrest any person there or charge them with marijuana because it is a federal crime and they are smoking in the state of Texas. It might even be illegal in Texas still. Like what do we...
That's it. So you can't ask people to respect the justice system when that is right there in front of them.
And the reason is because I'm able to go on a show, even like yours, even though you're very hostile, I'm able to go on a show like yours. No, you are.
Well, hopefully you thought it was a fair interview. We covered a lot of policy ground.
Wow, I don't know why I watched this.
It's fair only in that you allowed me to say what I say. But, the answers, the questions are, pretty nasty. But look, because I've seen you interview other people like Biden. And
I've never interviewed President Biden.
He just fucking lies to her face. He just fucking...
I say you, I'm talking metaphorically.
I'm talking metaphorically.
Okay. I've seen George Stephanopoulos interview Biden. And he's a tough interviewer. It's the softest interview. I've seen CNN interview him. They give these soft, what's your favorite ice cream? It's a whole different deal. I don't understand why. You would think the press would like to see strong borders, great education, a powerful military, so we have a country left, and all these different things.
Yeah.
And somehow they don't want to see that. And the reason is because
Yep.
He's just totally right. It was just such an unfair interview. She's obviously baiting him and setting him up the entire time.
Different interviewer, move on? Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. I think that's pretty much...
This is your first.
Is that all of them? Yes, I believe that is all of them. Oh God. Yeah, I think it's going to be crazy if he undoes the birthright citizenship. I wonder how they're going to do that. Yeah, I don't know. It's common sense stuff. Oh, well, a lot of things I think are. And her eyes make me uncomfortable. I don't think it's that big of a deal, right? I mean, I usually don't even think about that. But sure, I'd be pissed if nobody asked me what my favorite ice cream is. Yeah, true. What about forced Christianity? I think that students should learn in school. I think you should learn about all of the Abrahamic religions. You should learn about Islam. You should learn about Christianity. And you should also learn about Judaism. And I think also you should learn about Hinduism and Chinese, like Buddhism. I think you should learn about all that.
How about we like learn how to do our fucking taxes first? And then we learn about the fucking 3 branches of government. What the fuck is the school that Asmongold is suggesting? You're going to be doing PE half the day, and then the other half we're going to be doing a study of every single fucking, like... Also, just to be clear, people that say this shit, they don't even fucking mean it. When they say you should have to learn all the religions, no, you don't mean that. You don't mean learn the history of all of them. What you mean is that they should be taught the beliefs of all of them, which is also bullshit. I don't need fucking schools to be teaching us, like, what do Muslims believe? What fairy tales do Christians believe? What fairy tales do Jews believe? No, if you want to fucking indoctrinate your kid with that retarded shit at home, do that at home. I don't want to waste my fucking time in school. And it's not even worth the history. The fucking history of the Catholic Church, the history of Islam. How about we like fucking teach people how to do their fucking taxes, and then let's learn some actual fucking world history. Like maybe we can have like 2 paragraphs on South America, for instance, or maybe like a couple paragraphs on at least Northern Africa, right? Or learn that there was like more than 1.5 fronts for, you know, Germany to fight on for World War II. Or learn, like, there are a ton of things that we can learn in school before having to do an overview of the beliefs of all of the major fucking religions.
You should learn about it from the perspective of having an educated viewpoint on the way that people in the world will see the world.
Seeing as how so many people believe in them, I feel like it is beneficial to teach the very basics of religions to kids in school. It's basic life knowledge. What a Hindu/Muslim/Christian is, it's absolutely not. And by the way, there's absolutely no fucking class that you could make to summarize the beliefs of any of these people. Because even these fucking retards will literally fight amongst themselves over what their religions even fucking believe in. So what if you give a class on Christianity, is it going to be from a Catholic perspective? Or is it going to be from a Protestant perspective? Or are you going to try to cover the Catholic perspective and then also go through all the different forms of Protestantism? Like, what? Like, no, no, fuck that. What a waste of fucking time. If people want to study religion, do that shit on your own. If you want to incorporate history, religious history as part of your history class or something, like, oh, these were the caliphates, or this was the expansion of the Catholic Church in the Dark Ages, or this is fucking Israel or whatever bullshit, then go for that. But the actual, like, theological beliefs, learn that shit in church. What a waste of time. Time would be better spent reading Harry Potter. So there's no value in Judeo-Christian moralism other than being the literal foundation for Western jurisprudence. First of all, less than 1% of Christians have even read the Bible cover to cover. My guess is less than 10% of Christians have read a single one of the Gospels cover to cover. I say cover to cover, it's like just one of the Gospels. So no, why the fuck would I want to waste time teaching some boring ass shit that even the adherents of the religion won't bother reading to kids in school? Fuck that shit. Learn the law.